On the news, Tinubu approves use of NNPCL dividends for petrol subsidy, halts 2024 interim payments. Army deploys officers to protect farmers in the north ahead of planting season. And Lagos Governor Sanwo-Olu inaugurates last of 5 Red Line rail flyovers in Mushin. Thank you for joining us on News Now on TV 360 Nigeria. I'm Simisola Atikun. Following a complaint by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) Limited of its inability to remit taxes and royalties to the Federation account due to subsidy payments, President Bola Tinubu has given his approval for the 2023 final dividends owed to the Federation to cover the costs of petrol subsidies. Tinubu has also sanctioned the suspension of 2024 interim dividends to support NNPCL's cash flow. The NNPCL informed the president that subsidy payments were severely impacting its cash flow, making it difficult to sustain petrol imports due to forex pressure. Meanwhile, the NNPCL has declared 3.3 trillion naira profit for the 2023 financial year. The Chief Financial Officer of the NNPC Limited, Umar Ajiya, who addressed newsmen on Monday on the development, says this is the highest profit declared by the company since its inception. With the commencement of the rainy season, the Nigerian Army says it has deployed troops in several of the northern states to protect farmers. A statement by the Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, disclosed the deployment was made particularly in the northwest and the north-central states. According to him, the move has since enabled several farmers access to their farms for a heat-free planting season towards a bumper harvest. This move comes amid food shortage in the country, which has worsened the food inflation, put at over 40% by the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. Meanwhile, experts have also blamed insecurity and lack of equipment as major challenges affecting food production in Nigeria. Let's speak to one of those experts. Agro-entrepreneur Julius Oga joins me on the news. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Now, how crucial is this deployment of troops in several northern states in the country to protect farmers ahead of the planting season, considering the negative impact insecurity in those parts?
Thank you for having me, Simisola. I think we need to understand something within the context of which is within the correct contextualization. I do not think that the statement by the defense spokesperson, Major General Edward Buba, is referring to the deployment of soldiers to guard farms. That is not what is implied. In the media, you have these nuances, this tendency to take reports on the basis of straight line reporting, if I may put it that way. I think the context in which the spokesperson is saying, means is that expression is that soldiers have been deployed to areas that are replete with bandit attacks and insecurity, and these areas are mostly communal areas and agricultural communities. So the presence of soldiers in the vicinity will also stall the activities of bandits, which now allows residents and inhabitants of those communities to indulge more in agricultural activity. So the context in which it is being taken it sounds as if it is meant that soldiers are now out to guard farms. No, we don't have enough troops to do that. In fact, not even in the United States, which is one of the greatest superpowers in the world, the soldiers go to guard farms. Not to talk of a beleaguered country like Nigeria, where we have a very large population and very few, comparatively very few officers under arms. And we have the entire country is now under siege by insecurity. So we don't have the luxury of having security men that will go and guard farms. But the deployment of soldiers to areas of concern, areas of interest, areas of high insecurity and banditry and criminal activities is a welcome development. If that is, be that as it may, I think I was reading an in-depth report on this report about soldiers being deployed to other places. And one of Nigeria's major dailies, the Lagos-based newspaper, went out of its way to interview even governors and commissioners of agriculture and information across so many of these states. And they admitted they've not seen soldiers coming around. Well, that may be the case, but you would expect that generally there will be soldiers in areas, states of interest like Zamfara, like Katsina, like Kaduna, like Benue, and like Nasarawa. There will be soldiers in areas, those are areas of operation and areas of interest to them. So if they are there, their presence will also, affect the freedom of action of bandits who would use, the opportunity of having ungoverned spaces to do all the things they do and hold farmers to ransom. I think that is my understanding of this deployment you just spoke about.
Yeah, so finally, food inflation in the country has gone beyond the 40% mark despite a decline in core inflation to 33.40%. Now, do you think the 150-day suspension of duties, tariffs and taxes on certain food items will help address this inflation as the Nigerian government
expects? It will it will be minimal. If floating the exchange rate has affected a lot of things, and the way these economic variables are interdependent. One thing in one sector affects other things in other sectors. And you have a situation whereby you go to the market and things that are produced here and there, somebody will tell you it is because the value of exchange rate of the dollar to the naira is very high. That's the reason why there is inflation. The lifting of tariffs should actually help to bring down the cost of food, but is it actually doing so? The answer is no. That is why food inflation has gone over 40% as we speak. So I think what the government really needs to do, the homework the government has to do, is to ensure that there are commodity markets, that there is enough commodities in government reservations whereby the government can influence prices by giving people an alternative. If people have an alternative where they can buy subsidized buy food commodities at subsidized prices or at government regulatory prices, those who are selling in the open market will have no option but to bring down their prices. So to talk about tariffs and all of that, the farmer in the market is just hearing the news on the radio. The commodity sellers in the market don't really care about your tariffs or whatever you're doing. They're just hearing it on radio. As far as they are concerned, the cost of living and the incentives for inflation keep just increasing. Just recently, the government is talking about the implementing of 70,000 minimum wage for government workers. This, if you ask me, are also incentives for inflation because the people who are selling food commodities are going to want to take their own cut. And so this until we have a situation where there is a government alternative price, a government regulatory price that says go to point A and buy commodities at so given prices, and it is not taken over by middlemen. The inflation of food is not going to come down anytime soon. Right now, as we speak, in some of these high intensity food production areas, we're having reports about farms being washed away by floods. In Jigawa, in Bauchi, in Kano, we're also having, at the same time, we're having droughts, in some places. So we're being pillaged from all sides for all kinds of things, by all kinds of things that are trying to ensure that we don't get food cheap anytime soon. How long this will continue, I do not know.
Measures implemented by the federal government or about to be implemented will help address these challenges. Agro entrepreneur Julius Oga, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Moving on, a five-man panel of the Supreme Court has reserved judgment in the Bayelsa and Kogi State governorship elections. The candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC, Timipre Silva, and his counterpart in the Social Democratic Party SDP, Murtala Jaka, are challenging the outcome of the November 2023 elections in Bayelsa and Kogi States, respectively. The separate governorship election petition tribunals and the Court of Appeal, both of which sat in Abuja in their respective findings, had affirmed the declaration of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) on various grounds. In its ruling on Monday, the Apex Court, led by Justice Garba Lawal, adjourned to deliver judgment on the appeals after all the parties adopted their final briefs of argument. To health, as the mpox outbreak in Africa spreads, health experts in the country have called on the Nigerian government to embark on adequate sensitization, disease source tracking, scientific research, and strategic health surveillance to prevent the spread and resurgence across the country. Following the declaration by the World Health Organization describing mpox as a global health emergency, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention (NCDC) has confirmed 39 cases across 33 states and the Federal Capital Territory. In response, the center says it has issued a health advisory to help halt further spread of the disease. Speaking exclusively to TV 360 Nigeria, public health expert Dr. Truyi Mebawandu says there is a need for the government, in collaboration with health agencies, to develop a national strategic plan for vaccination against mpox, in addition to improving surveillance of the disease at borders and checkpoints.
Government is doing the first thing. The notification is important. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control is making a lot of noise about this. It's informing everybody. Radio and TV like yours actually also inform people. The starting point is that campaign where government will talk, where individual will talk, where radio station will talk, and give people education as to the manifestation of monkeypox and how it is. So we need to deepen that conversation. The health literacy must be deepened. Now we need to take it to the local government, the CDAs, and the communities that are actually prone to monkeypox. As it is now, every community is prone to it because as long as you allow contact between animals, it's not just monkey, rodents, squirrels, rats, they can actually be a host to this virus. So we avoid them. Those people that are doing hunting, that are doing games, skinning of the animals and cutting, to allow the blood of the animal to touch their body, they need to be a bit careful so that they don't pick monkeypox. Now, we have to strengthen hygiene again, hand washing. Hygiene, you cannot have, over hygiene in a way. Hygiene is very, very key for all of us, as much as government is talking about it. Then, of course, those men having sex with men, they have to actually do some protection. It's very important. Now, government needs to improve surveillance and laboratory testing for every rash or every suspected case of monkeypox, of mpox. So surveillance needs to be increased. Now, we know that smallpox vaccine is actually protects against mpox, but the world is about 40 years away from the immunity against smallpox. For the past 40 years, we've stopped giving smallpox vaccination. So now, maybe this is time to start. It's not even maybe, this is time to start because the vaccines for smallpox can actually prevent mpox.
In Lagos, the Mushin flyover, the last of the 5 overpasses built along the Red Line rail corridor, is now open to traffic following its formal commissioning on Saturday by Governor of the state, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. The project, undertaken by the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, has brought traffic relief to motorists and commuters connecting Agege Motor Road from Onipan, just as it solved congestion and delays associated with railway level crossings at Ogumokun axis. According to Sanwo-Olu, the economic value of the Mushin and Onikpanu area will experience a major turnaround with the inauguration of the rail infrastructure. In her remarks, the managing director of Lamata, Abimbola Akinadjo, applauded Lagos residents and the Nigerian Railway Corporation, the State House of Assembly, as well as the state government for their support and cooperation during the construction of the flyover pass bridge.
Vehicles have lost a lot of tires, they've lost a lot of livelihood just attempting to navigate that. With this infrastructure, all of that has been put behind us. But more importantly, is our solution to ensure that there is minimal disruption on the red line corridor. And so that is why this overpass is strategically important. We have delivered Agege Pen Cinema, we have delivered the Keja Overpass, we have delivered the Yaba Overpass, we have delivered the Oyinbo Overpass. Now this is the Mushin Onipan Overpass. And so, for us, it's about keeping faith with our citizens. It's about ensuring that we can make this place a lot better for them and make it a lot better than we met it.
We had to deliver 4 overpasses, and this is the last one out of the 4. I really don't think today is a day for speeches. It is just a day for us to acknowledge the work that has been done by the state, to also acknowledge those who have partnered with us, the community, because we couldn't have done this without the support of the community, and we thank you. The Nigerian Railway Corporation, because we're crossing over their track, the House of Assembly, who have supported us from the very beginning of this project.
Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have arrested Vietnam-bound businessman Paul Okwe Mbaduga for alleged drug trafficking after he tested positive for ingestion of cocaine. The 54-year-old suspect was intercepted at the boarding gate of the Abuja airport on Monday, August 12, during the outward clearance of Qatar Airways flight to Hanoi, Vietnam via Doha. After 4 days on the excursion observation, Mbaduga ingested a total of 88 wraps of the illicit drug with a gross weight of 1.710 kilograms. The arrest is one of several made between August 12 and 15, 2024. Correspondent Okweme Osheni has more.
In a statement, the suspect, Paul Uku Mbaduga, claimed he was given the cocaine pellets to swallow at Isolo area of the state for onward delivery in Vietnam for a fee of $2,000. Similarly, NDLEA officers at the export shed of the Muritala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, seized a Congo-bound shipment of 800 grams of loud concealed noodles and arrested the alleged sender, Nnamani Sonny, in a follow-up operation at the Alaba International Market in the Ojo local government area of the state. The anti-narcotic officers also arrested another suspect, Desalu Taufik Temitokwe, after a large consignment of loud imported from Canada was found on him at the Lagos airport during a joint examination at the arrival hall. On Wednesday, August 14, 2024, NDLEA operatives in Ekiti State, supported by men of the Nigerian Army and other security agencies as well as community youth, raided the Ishe Forest Reserve Salaju Camp, Ishe Ekiti, where 21,800 kilograms of cannabis sativa on 20 hectares of farmland were destroyed. The operatives on patrol along Onisha-Enugu Road in Enugu intercepted a Sienna bus from which 200.2 kg of cannabis was recovered, and the driver, Okoro Emmanuel, was arrested. 70-year-old Fidelis Egede and 3 others were also arrested after a cannabis plantation on 6 hectares were raided at Alaka Village, Ogun State. In another joint operation, NDLEA officers, along with the men of the Nigerian Customs and other port stakeholders, recovered 892,400 bottles of codeine-based syrup from 5 containers worth 6,246,800,000 naira in street value at the Port Harcourt Port Complex on a River State. 2 other suspects were arrested with 145,400 pills of tramadol in Kano, while operatives arrested another suspect in Niger State with 28,000 1,500 pills of tramadol concealed in loudspeaker. 2 other arrests were made in Kogi State, and their consignments were also seized. Now, while commending the officers of the Kogi, Ogun, Ekiti, Kano, Enugu, Niger State, and the FCC command for the arrest and seizures of the past week, the chairman and chief executive officer of the NDLEA, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, also applauded their compatriots in all commands nationwide for intensifying the wider sensitization lectures and advocacy messages to all areas of responsibility. Okpeyemi Owosheni, TV360 News, Lagos.
We'll take a short break, but still to come, the United Nations describes 2023 as the deadliest year for humanitarian workers on the 2024 World Humanitarian Day. Stay with us for details. Welcome back. Here's a recap of our top stories. Following a complaint by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited of its inability to remit taxes and royalties to the Federation account due to subsidy payments, President Bola Tinubu has given his approval for the 2023 final dividends owed to the Federation to cover the cost of petrol subsidies. A financial forecast by the NNPCL reveals that the cumulative petrol subsidy bill from August 2023 to December 2024 will reach 6.884 trillion naira, leaving the company unable to remit 3.987 trillion naira in taxes and royalties to the Federation. We also informed you that with the commencement of the rainy season, the Nigerian Army says it has deployed troops in several of the northern states to protect farmers. In a statement by the Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, the deployment was made particularly in the northwest and the north central states. According to him, the move has since enabled several farmers access to for a hitch-free planting season towards a bumper harvest. In case you missed any of our news bulletins, or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV and AVO TV, or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery, and Apple Store. On Facebook, we're TV360 Online. Let's get up to date with happenings in the world of business. Joy Uchejim has the latest. What's happening, Joy?
Thank you, Simi. Well, in the world of business, the federal government has disclosed plans to draft an executive bill to overhaul revenue administration, including regulating the cryptocurrency industry. This move follows a series of crackdowns on the crypto sector in 2024, despite the lifting of a ban on official crypto transactions in December 2023, when the government targeted crypto operators, blaming them for the naira's volatility, tax evasion, and terrorism financing. However, the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, SAC Adedeji, revealed over the weekend that an executive bill is being prepared for transmission to the National Assembly, which seeks to modernize revenue administration, including establishing a legal framework for crypto regulation in Nigeria. We'll take a short break and return with stock market reports. Welcome back. Now Nigeria's stock market started the week on a down note as investors sold off shares in Dangote Cement, coveting offshore support, and QTix, ending the day by 1.36% reduction. Now, among the decliners, QTix took the biggest hit, ending the day with a 46.67% drop, trading at 2 naira 64 kobo, and Dangote Cement followed behind at 532 naira. Now, by the end of the first trading day of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, which is the NGX, there were 405 million shares traded across 9,291 deals with a total market value of 7.6 billion naira. Now, that's a really good improvement for the NGX despite the bearish close. Now, on the global markets, the dollar dropped to a 7-month low and the Japanese yen took a really big high. Interestingly, despite the yen's strong performance, the Japan's market closed in the red. Meanwhile, both the US Dow Jones and the UK's FTSE had a positive day. Now, on the forex front, the naira took a hit, trading at 1,605 naira to the dollar on the black market. The British pound was going for 2,019 naira and the euro was trading at 1,730 naira on the black market. That wraps up our business and stock market update. Over to you, Simi, for the rest of the news.
Thank you very much, Joy. And on the foreign scene, as the world observes World Humanitarian Day on August 19, the United Nations has described 2023 as the deadliest year for humanitarian workers, adding that 2024 is potentially shaping up to be even more perilous. The theme of this year's World Humanitarian Day, Act for Humanity, emphasizes the critical need to uphold international humanitarian laws and safeguard those who risk their lives to deliver aid. According to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, the ongoing conflict in Gaza has emerged as the deadliest place for aid workers, with over 250 humanitarian workers killed since October 2023.
Wherever there is human suffering, humanitarian aid workers are striving to alleviate hardship and pain. Humanitarian operations coordinated by the United Nations provided life-saving aid to more than 140 million people last year. Aid workers, mostly national staff serving their own communities, persevered despite brutal violence. They continued their efforts to overcome all obstacles to supporting people in need in the face of severe funding shortages. On World Humanitarian Day, we once again salute their courage, their determination and their service to humanity. And we recognize that honoring aid workers is not enough. 2023 was the deadliest year on record for humanitarian personnel. In Gaza, in Sudan, and in many other places, humanitarian workers are being attacked, killed, injured, and abducted alongside the civilians they support. Disinformation campaigns spread lies that cost lives. International humanitarian law, the law that protects civilians during wartime, is being ignored and trampled. A climate of impunity means perpetrators do not fear justice. This is a failure of humanity, responsibility, and leadership. On World Humanitarian Day, we demand an end to attacks on humanitarians and on all civilians. We demand that governments put pressure on all parties to conflict to protect civilians. We demand an end to arms transfers to armies and groups that violate international law. We demand an end to impunity so that perpetrators face justice. Celebrating humanitarians is not enough. We must all do more to protect and safeguard our common humanity.
Finally, on sports, as part of efforts to reposition fencing in Nigeria, the president of the Nigeria Fencing Federation, Adeyinka Samuel, has tipped at least 2 of the country's fastest rising fencers in the world to qualify for the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. Buoyed by the recent strides of the federation, which includes hosting several international competitions since 2022, Samuel, who is a former fencer for Nigeria, says the country's potential in the multi-weapon sport can be showcased globally at the Sports Fiesta. According to the Fencing Federation, the federation will also intensify its efforts in training more coaches and officials to complement the growth of the athletes. Well, that's it on News Now. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.